Hello everyone and welcome back to 10 Minute Pitch, where I'll be reviewing a show and trying to pitch, or anti-pitch it, depending on how good it is, in 10 minutes or less. Afterwards, I'll give the show a score out of 10 based on my grading criteria, and that score will determine if we'll continue to watch the show. If you want to recommend your own shows, leave them in the comments down below. This week, we'll be reviewing Royal Crackers, released in 2023. I'm your host, Flux Guys. Here's all my socials down in the description, and without further ado, time starts now. Royal Crackers is a show about crackers.
Crackers?
The food, damn it, the food!
Yeah.
Royal Crackers is a cracker franchise run by Theodore Hornsby, a Henry Ford tycoon type who will stop at nothing to build his empire. However, due to old age, the CEO is wheelchair-ridden in present day, with his company at the mercy of his two sons, the heirs in waiting. Theo Hornsby, a washed-up Fred Durst parody and the ex-lead singer of Taint. I know, hold your applause. And Steve Hornsby, a nerdy, no-bald everyman, and yes, that no-bald fact is confirmed by both his wife and his father, who falls short of the popular vote due to his awkwardness. The company also sees assistance from Steve's partner Deb, a ditzy but well-intentioned housewife, Darby Blanchard, a family attorney for the Hornsbys, and Matt Hornsby, the son of Steve and Deb, who is, a bit weird, to say the least. The show revolves around Theo and Steve's fight for the Royal Crackers throne. They both balance each other out in terms of strengths and weaknesses. Theo has the energy and brashness needed to be the figurehead, but his washed-up rock star status means that he's not the most respected by the public. Steve is a bit more level-headed, if not a bit sheltered and unstable, no doubt a reaction from his father separating from him, and doesn't have respect for other reasons. Episodes like Factory 37, Business Mom, and Cracker Con, please do not demonetize this video, YouTube. See the Hornsbys trying to maintain the Royal Cracker name by food conventions, press runs, and attempting to stay up to FDA code. However, as the season progresses, we start to see the dark underbelly of the monolith that is the Royal Crackers name. The pacing of the show is surprisingly good for an adult animated family comedy, even though that bar has been cripplingly low as of late. The main plots are chock full of action, usually with a B-plot for laughs that generally merges into the main story. These are basic writing techniques, but you'd be surprised at how many adult shows miss that basic mark. Royal Crackers doesn't lean into the family comedy tropes as heavily as other shows do. In fact, after the pilot episode, all the main characters split into their own little groups. Steve's plot usually center around his lack of confidence and control, accompanied by Theo or Deb. Theo's plots revolve around his old band, Taint, and how he still thinks he's in the glory days, with Darby or Matt being roped in to save him. And Matt just kinda, Matt just kinda does his own thing? This leads me to one of my main problems with the show. While there's not really a main character in the show, for example, Rick and Morty is about Rick and his family, Family Guy is about Peter and his family, Royal Crackers manages to balance out the attention of everyone in the family. Even Darby and Theodore Sr. get their screen time, with the latter stories usually taking place in the past, adding to the brand name's history and conception. But with Matt, he's just kinda there. In most episodes, he's there as an awkward comic relief, but he doesn't do much when the plotlines resolve. Even when Matt gets his own episode in the finale with him being considered next in line to the throne, it doesn't feel like we have a grasp on what he wants or what his character stands for other than being an average teenage boy. It's basically just Chris from Family Guy, but you know that show came out like, I don't know, 20 years ago? I'm just not realizing that I think I used that joke in the last episode. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of Family Guy clips on my timeline. It's kind of weird.
What's up, y'all? Editing Flux here. So I realized something while I was in the middle of editing the video. My friend brought it to my attention, but apparently Matt is voiced by, if I could get it, Matt is voiced by the person who did Naruto Uzumaki in the English dub. So it's like, it's even weirder that he barely has any lines and he doesn't really do much in the show, because like they got such a high profile voice actor. It's like, you know, have him do something.
The animation is fine. There's nothing to write home about. You can compare it to many other adult shows. Mr. Pickles and The Legend of Chamberlain Heights come to mind, but it's pretty tame in comparison. People were ragging on the art style of Royal Crackers when it first came out. Honestly, I won't blame them. But even after watching the first episode, I quickly grew used to it. There's not a lot of gross out humor, which I can appreciate, as it's been somewhat overdone at this point, but there are points where the jokes and animation feel particularly lazy.
Huh.
Okay, we get it. The lights don't work. Yeah, they don't work. Okay. No, they don't work.
Power's out.
The lights don't work! Sometimes it feels intentional. The show prides itself on being a cringe comedy, which can be funny. That scene in the pilot with Theodore falling down the stairs for a minute straight made me laugh more than I like to admit. But the fight scenes most of the time are severely lacking. It's not enough to ruin the plot, but how stiff the characters move is very noticeable. On a lighter note, despite how simple the character designs are, I really adore them. I'm glad they switched the characters from this to the designs that they use in the show. It feels a lot more tailored to each character's personality. The show's intro perfectly exemplifies the sequence of events that led to Theo and Steve being in the running. Two barely qualified men are now the only options to run a failing company. The voice acting is pretty solid too. It feels less like a show and more like we're watching these characters in their everyday life, which is nice. The best part of the show is the comedy and tone across the season. It manages to be surprisingly dark and evil for what initially just looks like a basic family comedy. I mean, the title of the show is literally Royal Crackers. If that doesn't scream the Prince mixed with Tiger King, I don't know what does. But as early as the second episode, the show manages to have somber moments of reflection with its characters. Factory 37 is one of the many episodes that highlight the immoral and borderline psychotic methods Theodore Hornsby has used to ensure that his business comes out on top. Business Mom focuses on Deb and her inability to become a leading female face for the Royal Crackers brand, unlike her uppity next-door neighbors. Steve is literally about Steve having an identity crisis and audible mental anguish over the fact that his name is Steve and not Steve.
It was supposed to be a V, but my dad couldn't be bothered to correct it. He didn't give a shit about you, dude. Oh man, that sucks.
Yes, Steve, with a B, as in biscuit.
Like with a B as in biscuit?
B, as in biscuit?
With a B, as in biscuit.
Boy, that's an unusual name.
I'd be mad as hell too.
I will admit that not every joke is funny, like they do a couple self-referential network jabs that seem more awkward than funny.
You think people want to exclusively watch videos on their phone? Why don't you ask Quibi? Oh, wait, you can't.
Well, yeah, but...
Because they went out of business.
Right, but...
In the year 2020.
I think...
Because they thought it'd be a good idea to shoot videos exclusively for the phone.
I don't get it. Isn't Lodi like a cool place? I mean, Creedence Clearwater wrote a song about it, for heaven's sake.
It's absurdist humor, honey. It's the type of thing you'd find on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah, I think I get it now. That's funny.
But the show just throws so many nonsensical moments that more often than not you're gonna end up laughing a couple times each episode. There's really a scene with Steve and Deb doing the demonetized shuffle, but his whole body is sunburned, so instead of it being like an intimate moment, he's just screaming the whole time.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
Certified comedy gold.
That's our time, so let's look at the stats. With a plot that subverts expectations, decent characters, passable animation, a pleasant main cast, and a shockingly diverse range of theatrical elements, Royal Crackers is a cut above its competitors, no pun intended. I'll also add up the episode score average and give my favorite episode in the season. Steve and Theo's comeback tour were close to #1, but I'm ultimately gonna give the award to Mayworth. The blending of the past and present to paint Theodore's immoral business ventures while still being funny as hell is something to be commended. This boosts our final score to 7.3 out of 10. I thought I knew what I was getting into with Royal Crackers, but I had a lot more fun than I expected. Let me know what shows you guys want to see next. Thank you to my donors. Huge thanks to Sky Corbin again. Here's all my social medias in the description. Thank you guys for watching, and that's my time. Goodbye.